Morning. Good morning. Time difference is killing me and the coffee's not ready, so I'm drinking water. It's not the same. So yesterday's video on loneliness has like 70,000 views already because I think people are starting to understand. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on with the wireless at this hotel. But that loneliness is a systemic issue. First of all, good morning and welcome to Coffee Talk. What do you drink in your coffee? Soy milk or almond milk. That's it. And if I don't have either one of those, I drink it black. So anyway, there were a couple of people yesterday who said they couldn't watch because it felt too close to home. I will never understand that. I feel like when something is close to you, it speaks to you. That is your door. That is like, this is exactly where I should be. I feel it. I want to be a part of the conversation. So my hope is that you'll stick with me as we talk about loneliness. Jennifer, go back and listen to yesterday's video before you and then watch today's or whatever. But I can't function because I have no coffee, so you guys are going to have to bear with me. But let me talk about this. I truly believe that loneliness and the systemic issue of loneliness in our society, even though social media was to make us more connected, it unfortunately has done for many the opposite. It has isolated them and made them feel more disconnected. Not only that, but if you can watch exciting things on your phone, people are less likely to go out their front door and do exciting things. Why would I go to a club and dance when I can watch clubs on the internet? I can watch people dancing on the internet. It is not the same. Systemic loneliness, especially in our men, is a real problem. I said it yesterday and I'll say it again. When you say to a woman, "How are you?" She says, "I'm fine." And you go, "No, really, how are you?" Typically, she will open up and start talking. Men are raised that they need to always be fine. I am fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. They don't even confide in their friends. Even when men have good social circles, tight-knit friends, they don't confide in how they're feeling. So many times when I hear about a man who commits suicide, I'm sorry, do I have a friend? Hold on. Hello? Well, I think behind the counter, behind the bar there's almond milk in the refrigerator. Yeah, I know where she hides the almond milk. Yeah. Oh, is he leaving the whole pot or just the cup? Oh, yeah, I know where to find that. Okay, I'll come down. Okay, thanks. Bye. Oh my goodness, they made the coffee early for me. I love the Dream Hotel. Okay. Let me go back to what I was saying. This is important. I talked to the wife of a man who committed suicide, and she said, "I don't understand. There were no signs." And this, to me, goes directly against what everybody says, that only depressed people commit suicide. I believe that loneliness, believing that you are all alone in the world, finding it difficult to emotionally attach Okay, Dylan. Guys, Dylan wants everybody to know that Dylan knows how to share his feelings. I always say that I talk about the rule and not the exception. There will always be exceptions to the rules. There will always be men who overshare, who are never lonely, who are super sensitive. I'm talking about the rule. Most men, and especially the one I'm married to. What I'm saying is that so many of them live emotionally isolated. They live such a emotional, lonely existence that they begin to truly believe that they are all alone in the world. They believe that whatever suffering they are doing must be done in silence. And what I am trying to say is that we can be a more inclusive society. When people are different than us, we can take time to figure out why. We can include the people on our teams who need a little more help, who maybe are perceived to be slower or whatever. We can really talk to our children about what they are patients. I'm running out of patience with this wireless. I apologize. Somebody said to me yesterday, well, you don't want your son to be a sissy and you don't want him to blah, blah, blah. I would rather my son be a sissy than be emotionally isolated, lonely, and suicidal. You heard it here first, folks. Max could be a sissy of all sissies. I don't care. And let me say this. There is a difference. Okay, let's go into, okay, so you're lonely, right? You're lonely. Now what? The first thing I want to say is there is a difference between loneliness and solitude. People say, well, I'm alone and I like it. Don't discredit people who are truly lonely. Being alone and liking it is a peaceful place to be. Being lonely is full of destitute and solitude. It is a sad, detached existence. People discredit going, I don't understand why you feel so lonely. Why do you feel bad about that? Like, I'm alone and I love my alone time. Having alone time is not the same thing as being lonely. I cannot express that to you enough. Enjoying times of solitude, enjoying alone time is not the same time as systemic loneliness. People who are suffering from loneliness are like 9 bazillion times more likely to fall into real depression. Okay? If you love the people around you, if you care about them, if you just even want to be a good neighbor, look at the empty nesters. Look at the people with big life changes. Did somebody just get divorced? Did all of their children leave and go to college? Did they lose their job? These are the people that start to digress. They start to withdraw. They start to become lonely. The other thing is, caring for others is a great way to combat loneliness. If you are suffering from loneliness right now, volunteer at a preschool, volunteer at an animal shelter, foster an animal. I am telling you, ACE filled me in a way. Now you're probably thinking, but Jamie, you have friends, you have a job, you have a husband. What would you have to be lonely about? There was something missing. I could not put my finger on it. But ACE came in and filled a hole that I didn't even realize was growing as big as it was. And when ACE died, I started to spiral into an emotionally lonely place where I felt like nobody could understand what I was feeling. I had such a strong emotional attachment to that dog. And I felt like the whole world was just going on without me. And so I raced, perhaps preemptively, perhaps a little too soon, into getting Sparrow. But I have no regrets. I want to tell you that caring for others is a beautiful thing to combat loneliness. I mean it when I say, if you can volunteer at your church, if you can volunteer at your temple, a preschool, an animal shelter, it will make a difference. You have got to take stock of your loneliness. You have got to say, this is what I'm feeling. I hear Jamie's words. I understand that I am suffering. I am part of a systemic problem. Loneliness is real and it is taking over my life. I'm going to force myself to get up and get out, walk into any organization, a church, a women's shelter, an animal shelter, a preschool, and say, I need something to do. They will find something for you to do. The other thing that I noticed when I was super lonely was that I was not getting a lot of sleep. Force yourself to sleep. If you can get more sleep when you are lonely, it will help combat the depression that wants to come with it. But the biggest message that I can share with you is be inclusive with others. I know that it is hard right now. Our country is in turmoil. I know that it is hard to look at somebody who thinks different than you or looks different than you and say, how? How do I include them? How do I find space for them when I can barely stand to look at them? That is when you know you are being tested. That is when you know that our Creator believes so much in you that the seed of doubt, the seed of possibility, the seed of growth, the seed of companionship, of fellowship, of friendship, of life has been planted in you because you are strong enough to grow it. And that is when you have to say, I can do better. I will look at the people around me and see who needs a seat at my table. Who needs some of my time? Who needs, I'm not perfect, but I'm really trying to be more mindful of the emotional stability of the people around me. And for the people who are lonely, the people who are suffering, what am I offering to myself? Being a servant to our brothers and sisters is truly the way to make a difference. Raising inclusive, kind children and being an example for them. Olivia says to me all the time, Mom, you stop and talk to everybody. Yeah, I stop and talk to everybody because you never know who needs to hear it. You never know who needs the human connection. Having a lot of people around you is not the same as the human connection. Meaningful connections between people are what keep us out of that lonely space. Some people get up every day and watch Coffee Talk because I say, I love you today. And it is the only I love you they get all day. And I speak about loneliness because it has affected me. So whether you are lonely because you're an empty nester, you are lonely because you're a widow, you are lonely because you've moved to a new place, you are lonely because you have different religious or political views than everybody around you, you are lonely because you are lonely and you don't know how to get out of it, I am telling you, we will help you get there. Together. But inclusion in the home is where it starts. We can start the healing with our children, I am telling you. And I want to remind you all that I get up and I do this every day because I want to be the difference in somebody's life that I didn't have when I was lonely, when my father died and I felt like a martyr, when I couldn't understand my feelings and I had nobody to confide in. I felt isolated, like I was living on an island of pain and void and disappointment, and I had nowhere to go. And I want to be the place that people go. But please remember, I am not a therapist. And if you are suicidal, you need real help. You need trained medical professional help. And me and nobody on this page are trained to help people who are truly suicidal. When I first started Coffee Talk, we lost one of our Coffee Talk members to suicide. Her name was Rachel. And I will never forget her, and I pray for her every Sunday, and I loved her. And it is crucial to me that people understand that if you are truly suicidal, you need real professional help. Coffee Talk is not a substitute for true medical professionals. Tina is a social worker. Tina may be the difference. I am not a social worker. I am just a person who has walked in many of your shoes. I love this space, Tiara. I love all of you. We are going to get through loneliness, but you've got to try some of the things that we talk about. You've got to try getting out of the house. You've got to try volunteering. I will stick with you every day, but you've got to make changes. I made changes so that I wouldn't stay in that space. I don't want to see you stay in that space as long as I did. It was a dark place. Okay, I love you guys so much today. Please share this video. There's a share button right there. Tag somebody who may need to hear it. And just know that I love you. I love you. Have a great, great day.